What is going on with all of these scoops? We've been getting a lot of Marvel news in the last couple of days, and most of it just sounds so out there, I'm just gonna say it, I believe most of it is bunk. Let's talk about this wave of new Marvel scoops, what they're all about, and why they're unlikely to be true at all. Well, I have to say, in the last 24 to 48 hours, we've gotten a deluge of Marvel scoops, and honestly guys, it's time for people to start calling it what it is, and most of this is simple bunk. Now, we try to keep it pretty positive on this channel, but I really do think as an audience, you deserve the truth. And honestly, I think at this point, we need to start recognizing that many of these scoopers really just are playing their fans with events that are never going to come to fruition. Now, in the last 48 hours, we've gotten 3 really big scoops, and I believe all of them are total nonsense, and I've reached out to a couple of sources, and they have also confirmed, yeah, they're total bunk. The first of these is Jensen Ackles joining the MCU as Nova. Now, it's totally true that Ackles was almost Captain America at one time, and Marvel even offered him the role of Hawkeye, but there is absolutely no truth that Marvel is eyeing the actor to take up the role of Richard Rider. Now, I do believe Ackles is one of those guys like Keanu Reeves that Marvel just simply keeps in touch with, and he's probably given some options, but never really any official offers. The guy is currently pretty busy on The Boys and surely campaigning to play Batman in James Gunn's new DCU, and nobody's hiring anybody right now because the strike is going on, meaning these conversations that people are referencing are really a factor of something else that we're going to talk about right after we talk about the next scoop. Jensen would be great in the role, there's no denying that, so the fact that it's kind of being pushed around like this in the nonsense realm is disappointing. So the second rumor involves Jack Quaid, and him being the new Silver Surfer. Now, Quaid has been closely associated with a lot of other superhero projects. He plays Huey on The Boys, and is currently voicing Superman in My Adventures with Superman. And the other day on the Hot Mic podcast, it was reported he could be the new Human Torch. Now, the lifespan of that scoop was a full 35 minutes before the scooper backed up and reported it was somebody else that he meant. And even that report is completely dubious because, like we said with Jensen, nobody's doing any negotiating right now because there's a strike. Now, I'm not saying Quaid couldn't make an okay Silver Surfer and he's not in talks with Marvel, but this is something that's not happening right now, and this reporting, like the Jensen Ackles stories, is really based on the fact that fans are simply talking about it, Googling it, and these are attempts by many of these individuals to just garner scoops. There's also a whole series of copycat scoops where everybody else seems to go, oh yeah, that too, with really no source, rhyme, or reason for any of it, and I think it's time people start calling it out. Now, the third scoop is around Wiccan, who we have been hearing is going to be part of Agatha Coven of Chaos. Now, there have been reports that Joe Locke is not playing Wiccan, and he's playing Agatha's son. So we really are completely unsure at this point if Wiccan will even appear. Now, there was another scoop later in the day yesterday from Daniel Rickman that seemed to indicate a series around Wiccan was in the works before the strike. And again, this is something that I feel like has zero chance of being true. It feels like many of these so-called spin-offs are simply stories that people may have talked about in a meeting but never got any legs. This doesn't mean Marvel's planning anything. And quite honestly, with Bob Iger trimming everything back and shutting down a lot of Marvel content on Disney+, it's gonna be years before we catch up on the schedule of shows they've already got in production, so a Wiccan series seems completely out of left field and highly unlikely. Marvel's going to continue to cut back on a lot of these projects, and Wiccan, a character that's pretty much completely unknown to the general public, is not going to get a front and center project on Disney Plus as these cuts start to happen. I think we need to start making sure we focus on the actual news, and some of these scoops, although we may talk about them, we're going to start putting them in a bit of a different light, because I am now officially starting to drift towards the camp, and I think a lot of these people are simply playing the fans, either for money or clout, and most of it is either made up or just a conglomeration of information that everybody already knows, throw in a dash of comic book knowledge, and all of a sudden you have a pretty clear possible path moving forward. Then they label this a scoop like they know something special, and try to get you to buy it, read it, watch it, or whatever it takes. So we're going to start doing it a little differently here. We'll keep covering a lot of this Marvel news. I wanted to get this video out here because I feel like fans really need to know how we feel and stand on this channel, and we're going to go out of our way to give you guys the truth every second of the day. Hopefully we help usher in a new era of transparency, but we're gonna have to wait and see.